And a live look right now from Chopper 2 at One World Trade Center, where 19 years ago, our city and our world changed forever. And it seems just like yesterday. Good evening, everyone. I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. In the midst of a deadly pandemic, New York paused today to remember those lost on 9/11.
This year's ceremony certainly looked a little different. Masks partially hid mourners' faces, but not the anguish they still feel 19 years after the towers fell. Because of the pandemic, the traditional ceremony did not include a live reading of the names, but a second ceremony held near the memorial today did.
CBS 2's Andrea Klein-Thomas, Dick Brennan are both in Lower Manhattan tonight. Let's begin with Dick. Dick?
Christine and Maurice, as you know, 19 years later, and this is still probably the most difficult day for New York City each year, remembering. And now add to that a pandemic, and you can only imagine the stress put upon the family members who came down this morning to pay their respects. It's a somber ritual marking New York's darkest day. But this year, we remember one trauma while in the middle of another. The people who gathered here wore masks but couldn't hide their pain. Dignitaries and politicians were bumping elbows while family members tried to keep a social distance.
Oh, say, can you see?
The pandemic sweeping the nation also remade the annual ceremony. The central focus, the stage, was gone, as were the people reading the names in person. This time, only recordings.
Gary and Albero.
Family members turn to the Plaza Memorial for comfort, where names are etched on the wall and pain is etched on faces. If it's true that time heals wounds, it seems 19 years is not enough. This survivor comes back every year.
Just the ones who didn't make it, the ones who doesn't have a chance.
People brought pictures of their loved ones and the grief they've carried through the years.
I still feel like it was yesterday, even though 19 years have gone by.
Gina Pinos lost her fiancé.
It's a surreal day where half of me is still back then and half of me is here and present today.
Every time we come, it's like a different experience. You know, you see things you didn't see before, you feel things you didn't feel before.
Pat and John O'Rourke came with their granddaughter in hopes of giving her a living history lesson.
I want them to know what her grandfather did and all the months he spent down here, because he was on the job.
So many on the job didn't make it home that day. The death toll agonizing, but the spirit of heroes still inspiring. Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigro remembers.
While it was the worst day in our history, it was a proud day to witness that level of bravery.
New York rebuilt and rebounded from the terror attacks, proof that the city always comes back, and after a ceremony in the midst of a pandemic, proof that it never forgets. You know, just hearing the words of the people who just spoke and the people we spoke to today, you really do get a sense of overwhelm, even though this is 19 years later. One more thing, the 9/11 Memorial Museum had been closed during the pandemic. It reopens to the public tomorrow. Live in Lower Manhattan, Dick Brennan, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Dick, thank you. You could feel it right there through every word that was spoken.